am DS, your psychologist, and welcome to another episode on Channel Neat. So earlier, about 1 or 2 months ago, I read about a Singaporean lady who was sleeping with everyone else except her current boyfriend because she's not too sure whether she should marry her current boyfriend because she doesn't really love him. So she posted on NUS Whispers and asked for advice what she should do about it. So just a few days ago, I chanced upon something similar. So one other lady was complaining that her boyfriend is earning far less than she is. So I think, if I'm not wrong, she's earning about 4 to 5 times as much as her boyfriend is. So as I am reading this, I have a very strong feeling that these two ladies must be sensors. In other words, they are S-types. So our dear ENTJ female friends, I'm very curious to know, will you ever consider income to be a very important factor when considering a partner? Comment below please, because I want to know. So for me, income gap is not anything important to me at all. So I can be earning far more than my partner, or my partner can be earning far more than I do. It does not matter, unless she minds. Personally, I wouldn't mind if she's earning like 2 to 3 times more than I do. So for me, love and relationships is a very intuitive thing, and I care much more about communication than all these evidences that you are compatible. So earlier, we have produced a lot of compatibility episodes. So as an ENTJ, I think I take compatibility quite seriously. So your MBTI type is a very important precursor or indicator whether we are going to make it if we are going to have a relationship.
Can we make it all night? We don't stop all up on my body, babe.
So if I do get a date, I think one of the first few things that I want to do is to decipher her MBTI type, and then from there I would deduce whether we're going to have serious problems down the road. So MBTI is a very important indicator for me with regards to compatibility, because I think cognitive functions play a very important role in how we process information and approach the world. We don't have to agree on the same things, but at least we must have some form of an alignment when it comes to worldview, attitudes towards different things, what our roles are in a relationship, and when we eventually get married.
I'm gonna marry you anyway. Marry that girl.
So if physical factors such as whether you have a house, whether you have money, how much income you earn does not really matter, then what matters for the ENTJ? So for me, there is another very important factor that I will consider when deciding if we are going to be compatible, besides MBTI. Of course, again, I must reiterate, MBTI is just only used as a reference, because it will only tell me what are potential problems that might exist between the two of us. We can still overcome them. This other factor that I'm going to bring out is going to be a bigger problem if it is going to be glaring, and that is IQ gap. According to experts, you and your partner's IQ should not be more than 1 standard deviation apart. So those of you who are very familiar with IQ testing will know that the standard deviation for IQ test is 15. So presume your IQ is 100, then your ideal partner should have an IQ of between 85 and 150. So quite a big range, right? However, you must be careful, because they are really very intelligent people, such as the INTJ or maybe the INTP. They tend to have very high IQ. So presume you have an IQ of 145, which is 3 standard deviations above normal or above the mean. Then you need to find a partner who is at least 130 in terms of IQ, and that is also 2 standard deviations above the mean, which means to say that if you are really intelligent to start off with, it is very much harder for you to find a compatible partner. IQ gap is very important because you need to have 2 people of similar comparable IQ so that you have consistent non-stop topics to converse and talk about. So personally, I will get very bored if my potential partner can only talk about what is in the Her World magazine.
Oh, I have a point, I promise.
So this is also why I think that it is very hard for INTJs to find a logical partner to pair up with. Assuming that the INTJ has IQ that is at least about 2 standard deviations above the mean, then they have to find people who are really above average in terms of IQ. And the percentage, the probability of finding such a person is really low. And it gets harder if your IQ is towards the 150 side. So it doesn't make sense for me to ask the person that I am dating to go for an IQ test, but I can ask, what's your IQ score? And that could give me a good estimate. If the person has not done IQ testing before, then I would want to know this person's academic results as a predictor of the IQ score. Alternatively, you can also ask different questions to know whether this person is considered intelligent. Personally, I think that the narrower the IQ gap is, the better this couple will be as a couple. So while I do consider MBTI, I think it is also very logical to consider IQ gap. Now what do you think? So all the super intelligent people, woo, you might have a higher risk of being single for the rest of your life. Okay, this is a very short episode, but I hope that you have enjoyed it nonetheless. If you have not subscribed, do consider subscribing so that we can bring you more MBTI and fun stuff. Okay, I'm going to sign off now and I'll see you in my next episode. Goodbye!